Testing. Testing.
Ooh.
20 seconds. Five.
Yes, y'all! From the DCTF Live Mothership in Carrollton, Texas. It's DCTF Live, an internet show about football. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. We are back from our sabbatical, although I don't think you guys missed us. Because we had shows.
Well, yeah.
Which shows in
Right.
in the tank. But we are back. We are back live. This is actually happening right now. What you're seeing is on about a 6-second delay, so that if I curse, they can bleep it. But other than that, we're back
I won't
live.
be bleeping it in time.
I'm sitting here. Sitting over there is Max Thompson.
Hi, Greg.
Hey, Max.
I missed you.
You did not.
I did.
You didn't.
I did.
Not.
I was really. I'll
one
be honest. My wife can vouch for this. On Friday, when I got back and started working on the afternoon, started trying to IM you, and you weren't responding, and I was a little despondent. It's like, Greg's not responding to anything.
I was working.
I just wanted a hi.
I'm in
I
a.
just wanted a hello.
Man, I'm in
it's
my.
good to have you back.
I'm in my work cocoon right now, man.
I understand. I was just a little.
I'm in my work cocoon, and you had exited my work cocoon.
But I'm back.
Well, now you're back, so now I'll respond to you. But
Fine.
you had taken a leave from that. We'll get into that in a moment. Today is Friday. Good Lord.
It's Monday.
Oh my God. Like
Boy.
it's not even close.
It's not even close.
Like if I had said
that's
Tuesday,
the other end of the week.
if I had said Tuesday, you'd be like, no, Greg, it's Monday.
Yeah.
Wishful thinking, but no, it's
Right.
Friday's a bad miss.
It's both, and like philosophically, completely opposite mentality, which shows how deep you're in at this point, right? When your Mondays feel like your Fridays.
I was up till 2:30 doing mascot stuff for the magazine.
Well, that sounds like
enrollment
important
stuff.
work, though. So I think that's just
It is an important work, but I'm not happy about it. Anyway, Today is Monday, April 11th, 2016, episode 112. 112, the number of at-bats for Sandy Alomar Sr. as a Texas Ranger.
I'll never get tired of those.
A little bit later, we're going to be diving into our all-time matchup Monday. It's a good one today.
Ooh, yeah.
You've got a team with an iconic head coach. Actually, two teams with iconic head coaches, kind of for different reasons. One of which is now iconic and kind of famous for another reason, for beyond high school. And one of which is famous because he's just an awesome high school football coach.
That's true too.
Plus, they both won titles.
Yep.
Both are no stranger to both programs are no stranger. We're talking 1998 Stephenville against 2003 Galena Park North Shore. That's coming up in just a little bit. But for now, Max was the reason we had to record 9 shows, and the reason that I have gotten really bad at my intro is because I'm out of practice. I haven't done it for 2 weeks because somebody decided to somebody decided to go and, I presume, go on like a fundraising trip for Donald Trump.
Yes.
Is that what that was?
That was, wow, you really took a turn there.
Your
that is
trip
not.
your trip to Euro Itchy and Scratchy Land. You went over to Europe.
That's true. I did do that.
With your wife, and you met some friends over there.
Mm-hmm.
Take us through it.
Well, I went to Europe and then I came back.
All right. We're DCTF Live. We're here every weekday at noon. So you guys you fly over and you go to London first. First of all, how was the flight over? Are you I think we've talked about this. You've flown across the pond before.
Yep.
Do you enjoy the long flight?
I hate long flights.
Yeah.
I hate being in I mean, I don't have a fear of flying. I just hate being in an airplane. I hate the germs. I hate the people.
Mm-hmm.
I hate not being able to do anything but sit in a chair. As airplanes get smaller, if you're above 6 feet tall, you'll understand what I'm saying, as I'm sure you do, that every airplane seat is uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. All of them.
Oh, yeah.
Even the ones with legroom are too narrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm getting bumped by beverage carts if I'm in the aisle, and I'm up against the window like this if I'm not. So just that in general. And I don't sleep on planes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how people do that without, like, waking up and with neck pain for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That said, we flew British Airways, which is probably the best way to do it. There's a direct flight out of DFW, which is also pretty choice.
That is choice.
Awesome.
When we went over to Europe, we had to fly to New York first.
New York, right.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a good deal on the flight, too. So it was like, hey, it was like a half-full flight.
Nice.
Right.
Oh, that's great.
But we flew out on a Monday night, half-full flight, big plane, so there was lots of room.
So you got to spread out and lay down.
Got a cheap upgrade. We taled about that with your Europe trip. Cheap upgrade over there, so got a bigger seat, could relax a little bit. That was nice. It was
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
So you land in London.
Yeah.
It was your first time in London, though. Is that
I'd
correct?
never been to London before.
You've never been to London. What'd you think? I'm interested in your take on London.
I feel like it's New York. It's New York without skyscrapers. I really didn't feel like it was particularly any different. After living in New York for a few years, felt just like walking around New York.
See, I kind of came away with the same feeling. Like we go over there, and I don't mind New York City. Obviously, you lived there. You have a particular sense for it, and maybe not even, I wouldn't say affinity for it, but you have a feel for it. You know what that is.
I have the slight pull.
Yeah, pull.
I feel pulled by New York City after living there for sure.
I'm a Texas boy, and I've the biggest city I've ever lived in is Dallas. So we're not talking these major metropolitan areas.
Sure.
Dallas is no slouch. I mean, we're not talking,
right. But it's a different kind of city.
Yeah, it's a different. The hustle. Is
there's not many square miles of people just running around.
Right. It's very dense.
Yes.
My wife loved London.
Yeah. I didn't dislike it.
No. My wife loved London. I came away, and maybe it was because it was scorching hot when we went, but I came away being like, it's fine. There's some things that are super cool and unique.
Sure.
But it's kind of like every big city.
Yeah, that's kind of how I mean, obviously it's unique in its own way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and we found some really awesome things to do. We went to the theater a couple times. Yeah, well, we went to...
I know you were going to one show.
The first show we went to was the newest, they have a new play about the history of the Kinks, which was fun.
Oh, cool.
Because I love the Kinks. Mm-hmm. But then the next night...
Is it a play or a musical?
Yeah, it's a musical. But it's just...
A musical about the Kinks?
But it's just Kinks songs. Those are the music. It's pretty cool. Huh. It was a good time. It was pretty funny. If you're looking for 2.5 hours to burn and you like rock music, it's a fun play.
Cool.
But then the next night we were in a cab and we drove past the Kenneth Branagh Theater and saw he was doing a comedy with Rob Brydon.
Whoa.
Pretty hilarious.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty amazing.
You just kind of stumbled upon it?
Yeah. Didn't even know it was going on. Did a Google search earlier, didn't see it, but drove by the theater, had 4 tickets left.
Wow.
So we went and saw it. That was awesome. Wow. Yeah, and then, we did a bunch of the history stuff. You recommended the Churchill War Rooms.
And?
Badass.
Isn't it?
Pretty amazing.
I'm a big history nerd.
Yeah.
And so going in there, I was just, it's totally, for those who don't know, they built bunkers underneath basically the streets of London, underground bunkers that served as Winston Churchill's, basically home and office and everything during World War II. Yeah. And they've kept it pretty much the same. They pretty much, they've turned it into a museum, obviously, but they haven't, gone and redesigned anything or stuff like that. You go in there and you just get a feel for what it was like to live in these bunkers, and I loved it. That was my favorite part of London.
3 things I noticed. Number 1, if you spend 2 hours in it or whatever, like we did, by the end you're like, how did anyone live here constantly?
Oh my God.
You cannot wait to get up and get air. 2, when you first walk in, they show you like the control center room where like the 12 chairs and one pretty cool, like the original chairs and everything. But I don't
like
know
where
about
they're
you.
running the war from,
Right.
basically.
Yeah. And then there's like a museum with like his artifacts of his life and everything, and like a section on his funeral and all this other stuff. I don't know about you, but when you actually get to the end and walk through the entire map room, as it was, like the maps where they had mapped out, like the last thing they mapped out in this room was how Europe was going to be divided amongst the Allies. And it still looks like that.
And
like
it's
just as they left
and
it.
they just left it.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
It's really
Yeah, you
cool.
can sit there and stare at that map for hours.
I don't know if you noticed, but there is a bunker in there for a Commander Thompson.
I did not notice that.
Pretty excited about
Okay.
that. So
All right.
we
You have
may
a
be
room.
moving in there. Yeah. And then, we did like the typical stuff. We walked along the river a bunch. I went to Westminster Abbey. I was deeply disappointed when I realized King George III wasn't buried there because I was going to laugh at him, just on behalf of all of us here.
As one does.
I did find
But-
General John Burgoyne's grave, and I laughed at him a little bit.
Who else is there? There's a lot of famous people buried
Mary
there, like
Queen of the Scots,
everywhere.
Yeah, Isaac Newton.
yeah, Isaac Newton and what's his butt? Charles Darwin's buried
Charles Darwin
there.
is like the first thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what your experience was, but you walk in and you're like first kind of sensory overwhelmed by the whole place. You're like, oh, there's a grave there, there's graves everywhere. It's like they're in the walls. It's so crazy. But I don't know about you, but like you turn the corner and you're kind of looking around and you go, oh, here's the first one, like Charles Darwin, right there. And you walk like 5 more feet and you turn around and like you just notice everyone else having the same reaction, like, oh, I was just
Look at
standing.
this.
Yeah, wow, okay, all right. And that's like, okay, you're here finally. So that was pretty cool.
We liked the other thing that kind of bugged me a little bit about London is, and much like New York, very expensive city.
Yeah,
I don't know. You can
Although,
you can drop a lot of money in a hurry.
I don't know what your guys is. For whatever reason, our timing was great. I don't know if it's off season or whatever, but we got a top 10 hotel in New York or in London, and it was less than most hotels anywhere in the U.S.
Good for you.
We paid a little over $100 a night.
That's great
for a
it's
really
good.
nice 4.5 star kind of place.
That's really good.
So that was pretty cool.
So then you went to the whole purpose of you going over there was to go to a soccer match.
Yes.
And if you remember correctly, I told you it was going to be 1-1.
Yeah.
I said, wow, that's got 1-1 written all over it.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, it did.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it
To
was
Liverpool
1-1.
and Spurs.
But it was, you know what, though? That was an up and down match. That was like end-to-end action. It was pretty cool. And the thing that I would tell, even if you're not a big soccer fan, right, it's a cool experience for an American sports fan because the biggest difference that I can convey and I think is really cool to experience is how many seats are there in Globe Life Park?
Let's say 50,000.
Say 50,000, right? You sit there and the place is packed and you're like, there's a lot of people here. This is a big stadium and there's a lot of people here. Now imagine if Globe Life Park took up half the real estate and they still found a way to get that many people inside under 4 roofs.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable how many people they pack in there, and that's what makes the atmosphere so crazy. I know lots of people, they sing songs, and that's true, and there are different kinds of fans, but it genuinely feels like there are 45,000 people breathing down the necks of every player.
Cool.
And we were in the 5th row, great seats, and it was I just remember looking at this isn't a huge stadium, but there are a ton of people in here. It just was unbelievable how on top of everyone was.
Yeah, kind of. So you'd almost compare it more to like a basketball arena.
Yeah, like a really I'm trying to think of the most old school basketball arena I've been to in the US, but something that's older but still manages to fit 25,000 people. That's how I would relay it. It's crazy.
But it was worth it.
Oh God, yeah. I went to the stadium 3 different times, went for the match, did the tour, the private tour. I mean, I was choked up the whole time.
So then you guys went from there to
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Did you go?
No. I did not.
Okay.
I never went to
Here,
Scotland.
On behalf of the Tourism Bureau of Edinburgh, by far the coolest city I have ever been to in my life. And I like Paris a lot. I think it's really interesting and obviously very pretty. Edinburgh is way cooler.
Wow.
It's like
Why
old Gothic, Scottish, like amazing. It's built into the mountains. There's a giant Edinburgh Castle, reigns over everything. A castle that has been there in some form since 1 AD.
Wow.
It holds the world record for sieges survived, 26.
It's a good record to hold.
Scots, man, couldn't have been more impressed with that city. It's like the combination of all the cool ancient cities, like old back alleys, lots of up and down, lots of hills, but lots of cool new stuff. The art museums, everything was really, really badass.
Did you just wander, basically?
I mean, we're already like we got to go back and spend a week there, not 3 days like we did. I mean, it was that cool. Yeah.
How was the food?
The food was good.
I mean, and not just in Edinburgh, I suppose, but overall.
Food in London was great.
Yeah, you
London's
can eat good.
An international city.
It's
everywhere
it's
you
New
eat.
York. It's like New York. You go to New York, you can eat whatever you want, and you can get the best in the world.
It's your own fault if you have a bad meal in London. Liverpool. If you went to downtown Liverpool on the waterfront, very multicultural, lots of different stuff. Anywhere outside of downtown, the blandest food I've ever had in my life. Our hotel included, and we stayed at a very nice hotel there too. Edinburgh was awesome. Every meal there was great. Went to like a lot of classic pubs in Edinburgh and like tried everything. And then Dublin is kind of the same as New York.
Then you went to Dublin.
Yeah.
See, I got the feeling, and maybe that was because that was the first city I ever went to kind of across the pond.
Yeah.
And I got the feeling that it was like a smaller. I almost compared it a bit to Austin.
Austin?
A little bit
smaller.
smaller.
That's actually fair. I would say it's like a weird combination of like Austin and Boston.
Yeah.
Not to be
sure.
But anyway, it has.
You could definitely tell the Irish influence in Boston when they were when they were laying that out.
That's
because
a big part,
if you go over there, Boston.
It makes a lot of sense. It also is a huge international city that feels very small.
Yes.
And I also think the Austin part of it is I think Dublin would be a lot more fun if you're 22 years old and with all of your friends.
Oh yeah, I mean
like,
they've got.
We had a fine time. It's a nice little city. There's not a shortage of things to do, but I definitely got the sense that the people having more fun were about 10 years younger than me and with a group of their friends.
They were. That is the best thing. The best way I can describe it is that the way that we view like Las Vegas, where it's like, oh, we're going to Vegas for a bachelor party, we're going to go crazy. Like that's the way that
Dublin.
A lot of Europeans view Dublin.
Yeah.
Because it's a place you go and you just go nuts.
Yeah, we met up with some friends in Dublin, and one is an American friend of ours, and she was there with a English friend of hers, and she goes to work in Europe a lot, and so they try to meet up whatever city she's working in. And she goes, yeah, just meet me in Dublin. And he was like, no, anywhere but Dublin. Why do you want to meet me in Dublin?
I only spent 2 days in there, maybe 2.5. I could probably spend 4 days there, but
I don't know what else you'd do.
I mean, you go, you drink. The food's great. I thought the food was great.
Again, like London, there's more internationalism. That we actually had an incredible Japanese meal there, like a kind of a tasting course kind of thing. So yeah, didn't eat poorly there at all. There's tons to do. Great pubs.
Oh, of course.
Food
Well, I mean, yes, that's
there. Just like London.
That's what you do.
Like
you
Scotland.
go when you go to Ireland. You just you stumble into a pub and you sit there and you belly up to the bar.
Right.
And yeah, it's great for that. It's great. I think that the cool thing that I liked is that there are clearly people like you were talking about where they are going at a speed much faster than you, right? They are there to party.
Yes.
But there's also a significant number of people in London and in Dublin that are just there they're having a pint.
Yeah.
They're relaxing.
Chilling.
They're chilling.
Yeah.
Did you do the Guinness Storehouse?
I didn't.
Oh, really?
So really, based on your testimony and everyone else's over time, I was like, so basically what I'm going to do is learn about the history of Guinness. I'm not actually going to get like a full brewery tour because they don't do it there anymore, really. The number one thing you get out of it is the big view of Dublin right at the top. I talked myself out of it.
Interesting.
I was like, this isn't going to be what I want it to be in my head. Like, it's a storehouse now.
Could on the Jameson Distillery. They do.
We talked about this, though.
They do. They do make Jameson there though.
Right, but we talked about this before I left. Jameson is like the whiskey I drank 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and remember, kids, not until
No.
you're legal age. But it just,
No.
you know, I would rather go back to Scotland,
Mm-hmm.
do Edinburgh longer, and then go into Highlands and do like some smaller distilleries. You know.
So
like
would
the
you go?
Lafroig
Yeah.
and Lagavulin.
So would you? So you would rank it Edinburgh, London, Dublin.
Well, I'm biased. I would rank it Edinburgh, Liverpool.
Oh,
London,
Liverpool. Got it.
Dublin. I mean,
Sure.
I honestly expected Liverpool. Like, no offense to the people of Liverpool that are all watching this right now.
Mm-hmm.
I expected it to be the Detroit of England. It was
Mm-hmm.
much better than that. The waterfront is amazing. Like, it's an old port city. They've renovated it in amazing ways, and my favorite soccer team is there.
Sure.
Hard to beat that. But as a standalone city without any personal bias, Edinburgh
Mm-hmm.
by far.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, welcome back. What'd you bring me?
Nothing. Hopefully no diseases. Was I supposed to bring you something? I could get you a potato.
Why would I want a potato?
I don't know. Oh, that is the thing. I don't know about you. I mean, you guys went all over Europe, but after like 11 days in those countries, boy, you get tired of potatoes.
Got tired of potatoes. You know, the funny thing is, because we went to Germany, too, I never got sick of sausage, though.
Nah,
Man, I could eat that
yeah,
forever.
Yeah, I'm
that
right
was
there
awesome.
with you.
But they do serve potatoes with everything.
Now here's my question for you. Did I miss anything?
I would have done the Guinness Storehouse only because I thought it's super cool just from a history perspective.
Sure.
I
think we covered
if you're
most
going back over to Europe, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're talking about anything outside of Europe, I can't recommend Munich enough.
Right.
Berlin was fine. I liked Berlin, but it
But you
was
liked Munich a lot.
I loved Munich. Munich is unlike anywhere you've ever been. That's a promise. It's just Bavaria is amazing. And then the place I loved most when we went over there was Copenhagen. We only spent about a day and a half there because we basically went there because it was the cheapest flight back.
Right.
But Copenhagen is amazing. Like, it's kind of funny. Like, they have the highest tax rate in the world, and you can tell.
Yeah.
Because everything's beautiful and clean,
Yeah.
and everyone's pretty.
Yeah.
Everyone, like, they're just beautiful babies, just like they're all pushing these buggies, and all these blonde, blue-eyed babies are like sitting up, and be like, "Oh, hello." They all speak perfect English.
Fair
Can't
enough.
recommend that, but no, Edinburgh sounds fun.
Did I miss anything here?
Oh, here. That's what you meant.
No, I both.
Any
Any big news? Anything that?
No, I don't think so. No, it's been pretty much steady as she goes. I've been working on the magazine, so other than that,
and no major football storylines.
we'll
a
get to a
couple.
couple. Well, a few,
Do that
a
tomorrow?
little of them. But we'll get to those tomorrow. We want to make
Okay.
sure we
Fair
don't
enough.
short
Fair enough.
shrift them. So we're DCTF Live. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We have a website. We won't be here Wednesday. Wednesday, no show. I've got a meeting. I've got to get out of. I've got a meeting out of town.
Ooh.
So and we can't get a substitute host in time. So Max will be sitting here missing me.
You don't want to record something ahead of time?
No.
But we could.
Dude, I recorded 9 shows. I know what that's like.
And what's one more?
It's another one.
All right, whatever.
So let's get into our matchup Monday, which is not on the site, or it's going up on the site momentarily.
At 1.
At 1
Yeah.
o'clock, it's going up on the site. So every week we do a matchup of 2 of the greatest high school football teams of all time in a hypothetical matchup and say, all right, who would win? We've done teams from as far back as 1970. We've got some more that are in the hopper that are going way, way, way back.
Right.
We'll get into those soon. We've done them as recently as 2015, the Katy team.
Yep.
I imagine 2015 Canadian will be on our list as well.
Yep, they're on the list.
So, basically, we want to figure out who would win in these hypothetical matchups between these great teams from across the state and across time. So, this week, we're rocking with 1998 Stephenville against 2003 Galena Park North Shore. So, 2 teams that are no strangers to state championships.
No.
Stephenville, this was kind of the crowning jewel of a dynasty that they made under some guy named Art Briles. Art Briles was the coach at Stephenville here, and they were incredible. They were incredible, and I would say 1998 was probably their best squad.
Yeah.
Keelan Luker is a name. I don't know. Keelan Luker is one of those guys that you say scatter shooting while wondering whatever happened to Keelan Luker.
Yeah, a little bit.
I wonder where he is, but I imagine he doesn't buy meals in Stephenville.
No.
He was amazing. They scored 712 points, which I believe at the time was a state record. They finished 15-1. They drubbed a really good Lamarck team in the state title game. They were only held under 30 points once. This offense, this was a vintage Art Briles. This was the Art Briles high-flying offense before everyone knew about the Art Briles high-flying offense. He threw for almost 4,700 yards. He threw for 49 touchdowns. Cody Cardwell was his big target. They had a running back in Zach Hunter. This team was amazing. If you want to point, if you want to say, oh well, if you want to start picking nits, defense fine. It was what it needed to be. They're scoring 75,000 points a game. All you got to do is give up 50,000. They didn't give up that many, but they were fine. Basically, the offense was amazing. That it made the defense, which was I think above average, but probably nothing legendary. It made the defense kind of a non-issue. So there's that. Iconic coach, sensational quarterback, amazing legendary offense. Mm-hmm. On the other side, you go to 2003 Galena Park North Shore. Now, people people know that Galena Park North Shore just brought home their second state championship with their thrilling win over Austin Westlake in the 6A D1 title game in Houston back in December. But their first title game and their first title game appearance came in 2003. And they did it. This was kind of a cap on... I think that really this 03 North Shore team and this 15 North Shore team are so similar because, for me, the book on North Shore is always the same.
Yeah.
The book on North Shore is they are as talented as anyone in the state every year.
Yeah.
Every single year, it's just a matter of can they catch the breaks and can they put it all together.
Yeah. They've got the horses.
They've always got the horses. And so this 2015 team, you look at it, they caught a couple of breaks, and they got in the title game, and then they just gritted it out. They gutted their way to a state championship. Yeah. I think this 03 team was kind of like that as well, because this was a dominant stretch for Galena Park North Shore that they didn't win any state titles.
Right.
They won 78 consecutive regular season games. 78 consecutive regular season games. Just the problem is they'd go to the playoffs, they'd get tripped up, they'd have a bad game, they wouldn't put it all together. This was they had 8 consecutive unbeaten regular seasons in the 2000s, which is nuts. They just didn't lose in the regular season.
Right.
But they finally got that playoff run in 2003. And it goes with, you look back at the athletes they had. Their quarterback, Bobby Reed, the future Oklahoma State Cowboy then. But the thing that, to me, always set them apart was that this team had a defense. Yeah. And this defense, yes, you talk about Bobby Reed, you talk about Justin McNeese, you talk about Dalgion Farr. They've got a lot of big-time FBS prospects on the offensive side. Yeah. But this defense really stepped up in the playoffs, and kind of similar to this 2015 squad.
Right.
That the playoffs rolled around, and the defense hit another gear. Mm-hmm. They just found another way to win. And this defense, I thought, was fantastic. Stephen James, Joshua Jolivet, Freddie Patton. This is a Chaikey Brown and Earl Mitchell, who were NFL players. They were sophomores on that team. This was a loaded team from a talent perspective. And so in a lot of ways, when you match these two teams up, they are kind of contrasts of one another. Stephenville does not have those superstars who went on to NFL careers.
Right.
Galena Park North Shore does.
Yeah.
Galena Park North Shore does not have this lights-out, unbelievable scheme offense. Right. Stephenville does. Yeah. Stephenville does, both teams have these coaches that, for Briles, he was obviously fantastic at Stephenville and in high school in general, but he's more well-known for what he's done after that. He's more well-known for what he did at Houston, what he's doing at Baylor.
Yeah.
David Amond, the coach at North Shore, is this legendary high school football coach who is I don't mean this how this is going to sound, but he's just that. He's a legendary high school football coach.
Right.
You know, he's not known for going off and going into college or going to the pros or anything like that. He's just a legendary coach. So when you look at this, this is kind of the blue chippers against the scheme.
Yep.
Is how I look at this game. To me, this comes down to defense.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the Stephenville defense would be able to hold up against what's still a very good and very fast Galena Park North Shore offense in 2003.
Yeah, I think the difference here is I expect a shootout. I don't know about you.
Yeah, probably.
I expect a shootout, and honestly, I just think the Mustangs hold serve one or two more times.
I think that's exactly it. I think you come into this game assuming everybody's going to score on every possession because the offenses are so explosive.
Yeah.
The question is who's more likely to stop the other.
Right.
To me, that's North Shore, that David Amon-led defense, which was just flying all over the field, and they held they held opponents to 40 points in the playoffs. Pretty ridiculous. I think that I would go with Galena Park North Shore for that reason because of the defense. As much as I love the Art Briles offense, and as much as I love Stephenville and Keelan Luker, I think,
by the way, I looked it up.
Yes.
Co-OC, Magnolia High School.
We should get him on the show.
Yeah, I smell a future interview.
Keelan Luker, give me a call. But yeah, I would go with, as much as I love Keelan Luker and that offense, I would go with North Shore just because I think they've got the more complete team.
Yeah.
That would be me. So we're going to have the voting up here at 1 o'clock here on TexasFootball.com, so go on and vote. Tell us what you think. Check out Mike Craven's outstanding piece on it.
And last week, Permian, 1980 Permian.
Did they win?
Won the vote over 78 Houston Stratford.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So it'd be Craig James.
Yeah.
All right. That's going to do it for us. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Tomorrow, we're talking with James Lott, our official recruiting analyst, to break down some of the best prospects in the state. You don't want to miss that. We'll get into some more news and notes from across the state. So follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. And we will see you tomorrow on DCTF Live.